all I have to say is that this week there's just been a whole bag full of people coming out of the woodworks and saying that their ex-partners or their friends or whatnot, their neighbours, their gardeners, who names, they're all saying that they were treated poorly by these people. And obviously we've had Syndicate, we've had Angry Joe, we've also got quite a few streamers who are coming out and saying that their ex-partners did things to them and whatever. But what we're going to take a quick look at today is someone by the name of HenryG. She is someone here in the UK, she's a big cosplayer, and she actually has quite a bit. You know, she's a cosplayer, she's a Twitch partner as well, and she currently has 108,000 followers on Twitter. Well, this is what she had to say a couple of days ago. My ex, HenryG, was verbally, emotionally and mentally this and done this with me when I did not and could not consent. And she's got the Discord little chat there from February of this year. I appreciate the apology, but man, I just want you to put yourself in my position and think, was that a really good time for me, lol? It wasn't, and I apologise. I don't feel good at all. I will leave you alone. Anyway, she's just carried on. This is absolutely terrifying for me to write, and I am sorry to mutual friends I did not warn. It has been mentally taxing. To those that knew, thank you for your support. And she just sits here about adding, mutual friends want to stay friends with him. That's fine. But what we're going to take a look at now is something that, well, let's just say is actually rather interesting. HenryG has actually come out himself and he has actually done his response. And this is what we got. Response to recent allegations. 23rd of June. I want to address recent allegations made by my ex-girlfriend Kelly G. Kelly and I were in a long-term relationship for nearly 2 years, which was emotionally charged and we both later realised toxic and destructive. While I deeply regret things I said during our relationship, I have never done this or this to her or anyone else. I cannot speak for her, but I must be clear that her description of the events of New Year's Eve is simply not accurate or true. On that New Year's Eve, Kelly came to meet me after we had both been with separate social groups for some part of the evening. She came to my house and asked to smoke some of this with me. I was already high but had a much stronger tolerance, and so was reluctant for her to take as I know it doesn't always agree with her. After she smoked some, she initiated this. Partway through, she said she was feeling unwell, so we stopped. We then both spent the night awake, her feeling unwell and me to keep an eye on her. In the following week, she never mentioned anything about this night and we continued our on-off relationship. Soon I had come to realise the relationship had no future. Kelly and I would argue often, which a lot of couples do, and I explained that we should end things. I will openly admit to being guilty of being a poor boyfriend, especially during my heavy travel and work schedule. As we started to separate, New Year's Eve became a focal incident in her mind. Her complaints were that I didn't take care of her. I had been more interested in the prospect of this than taking care of her while she was intoxicated, and that I was being selfish. I can understand why the situation may have scared her because she didn't feel like she was in control or safe, even though I would never hurt her. I apologised to her for this evening, and as you can see from the Discord logs, she has already made public, and as these WhatsApp messages will show you, she acknowledged nothing untoward had taken place. We're seeing a lot of this at the moment. We're seeing a lot of things where now it's kind of a sad thing that people are actually starting to take evidence even before they start speaking with someone or even if they do actually sleep with them. Just to say in the future if that person comes out and say, well, they done this to me, and they're like, actually no, this happened, here's the evidence. And because when you think like that, that is crazy. So these are the WhatsApp messages we have. All I wanted was some understanding of how I felt on New Year's Eve, that we both know it was not. I also don't feel it was an assault either personally, but that you were aware of what you did was hurt me, by accident because of selfish impulses. that you will be careful not to do that to anyone else, because that is all that worries me. That I honestly do not care about anything else, and if we don't talk after this, I really don't mind. I really do not care to talk about social media anymore. And obviously with all of this, talking about social media, this is the person who then went on social media and said all of the stuff that we saw at the beginning of this video. I was aware that Kelly had suffered trauma related to incidents from a previous relationship, as we were very open during our time together. Therefore, it is absolutely understandable that she may have experienced trauma in connection with the events of New Year's Eve. However, what happened between us was consensual and ended when she decided she did not want to continue. Kelly has acknowledged this directly in conversation and in messages between us, some of which I am choosing to share given the seriousness of these allegations. Which is very true, and it says right there, above that one right there, we both know it was not this. And that's coming from her. Obviously, in WhatsApp, that colour for the messages is of the other person that you are speaking to, and as we go down the page, you'll see when Henry is actually speaking to her, because his one is the green background. So then we got these by here. Now we got the sad face. If you don't want me in your life anymore, I'm fine to walk away. When you let me know that you messed up at New Year's Eve, I'll make sure that you will be more careful in the future. That's literally all I give a shit about. Not for myself or for frigging Twitter. Just so that I can sleep at night. Again, saying that about Twitter, but where does she go and put all this stuff? Twitter. I know you think it's not a big deal, but when I was this years ago, it took me years to be intimate with anyone else. You were the first person I loved at all since then. It sucked, and now I'm working through all these same PTSD feelings. I don't need an apology. I know it was an accident and you aren't malicious. I just want to know you'll be more careful. That's it. I don't got nothing else to add. I care about you, but if me being in your life makes it worse, I'm sorry. Jess seems lovely, and I hope you work out to something great. I want you to be happy too. If you are too wary to talk to me about this over text or voice chat, I will drag myself back to Acton on Monday if you prefer. You can even give me a pat down to make sure I'm not wearing a wire, though I assure you I'm not actually MI6. So straight away she says there, literally, oh yeah, I was actually happened years ago. And she's saying New Year's Eve was completely different, that it never happened. And then with her making a joke about it, it's like, oh my god, come on love. Why are you doing this? Because to be honest with you now, this could seriously hurt people. People don't seem to understand this. The ones who are actually coming out and saying all of this, and the ones who actually have evidence stating that what these people are saying are false, do they actually realise the extent of damage this could do to someone? Because sadly, this day and age, even if you got evidence to say actually what this person is saying is wrong, I never done that to them, people just don't seem to care about the evidence anymore. And that's most of the people who follow the person, or they stay with the person who is saying they're a victim, even though they're not, because they've actually made the other person a victim by lying and saying that these accounts actually happened. Carrying on, despite our relationship ending and despite my insistence that she no longer come to my home, she continued to attempt to visit me there. On May 28th, 2020, Kelly turned up uninvited to my home in London. She attempted to force herself into my property because she wanted to talk about our relationship, despite it officially ending in August of 2018, 2 years prior to this, and anything happening afterwards being on a mutually agreed casual basis. She told me there was a man waiting downstairs in case anything happened, even though the interaction was unexpected and initiated by her arrival. I had no idea who it was or what they were planning to do, so I had some choice language for him. I believe this is the friend she refers to me threatening in her Twitter long dated the 21st of June. And as we got more of the WhatsApp messages by here. I said I walked a meter in. I was annoyed and I resisted, yes, but also if I didn't, I would have fallen over. This is gaslighting. Stop telling me how I remember it. I was there, don't need to hear your opinion on it. How far do you think you got in? Your hallway is like 2 meters long. Try it again, I dare you. Look, I apologise for that. All this, in fact. I never once said I did anything well. But you refuse to walk away. You'll do this until the end of time. All this stuff in the long term is dumb, and I'm aware it's my fault that it's completely distracted from the point of talking to you. That's my fault. As Kelly was clearly in distress, my current partner and I eventually decided to fuse the situation by having a group conversation at my home. We discussed details Kelly has shared in her own statement, but no allegations of this were made. It was a difficult but necessary conversation, and I came away with a deeper understanding of the mistakes we had made as a couple, and the ones I had made personally. Afterwards, I felt that we had both resolved to move forward with separate lives. This is what she said then. I'm working with someone who is great for me. I don't need a doctor. I just want to add, I've never mentioned doctors to be an insult or anything. Sometimes it feels like you think I'm trying to insult you. But expecting the person you're dating to help you through everything is quite a lot. I'm guessing you're wary of that anyway. We're still talking about it, Kelly. I apologise if it seems like I've been beating a dead horse. I just didn't get straight answers to a lot of things. I think I accept that our viewpoints will always be different on it. If you say you don't stand by it though, I accept that as it is. I hope you consider the things I've said too. I have and do consider them, and I'm taking it on board. I would also like us to agree you're not going to turn up randomly anymore. It's not fair. I really appreciate that. Sorry, of course, I didn't know you were lying proverbially, so doing so was the only way to prove it. I appreciate that's not an excuse. I won't do that again. Also, quite frankly, it's a waste of money to go on a round Uber trip to Acton just to cry, so can't say that I find it fun part-time anymore. And she put a little winky face there. It's like, why are you doing those? Unfortunately, despite coming to an agreement on that evening and ending contact, Kelly has continued to persistently contact my partner, family, colleagues, and creating multiple social media accounts to try and engage me in communication. Alarmingly, Kelly has tweeted this week that she would not have published her allegations against me had I not blocked her on social media. And this is what she posted on June 22nd. So she got all these people, didn't have a choice. He was still talking to me like utter horse, then blocked me. He had a chance to not be a piece of this. He chose his outcome. All he had to do literally was not be an ass to me. I'm not going to cover for someone I'm 100% sure has not changed. Even though, again, this just goes for what people put on social media to what they actually discuss with people in real life. Because social media is literally, this day and age, they just put stuff on there just to get likes, comments, even if people who get sympathy, which, to be honest with you, by the way Kelly has put a lot of this stuff out there, a lot of this just seems to be put out there now just so she can get the sympathy vote. Because, as you can see by these messages, where she herself has said nothing happened on New Year's Eve, but then she goes online and says, well, this happened. It's like, yeah, I'm not falling for that. And to be honest with you, if this did go to court and these messages are shown, the court's going to be like, Kelly, you're lying. You literally said false allegations against someone because you've proved it here and you've said that it's not this. So that's what it is. And it kind of sucks because this day and age, when you see people who are literally only out there to try and say something which is absolutely horrible. And I've been talking with someone regarding this, and this is what they actually put down. And say it's in DMs, I'm not going to let people know their name. This is what I'm now seeing. Anyone who seems to have had some disagreement with guys, even have arguments, couples of arguments, which they do, like I said, they seem to use that as their weapon and then make claims. Not just about stuff that happens in the bedroom or whatever, but stuff about their shitty behaviour. I like in a way it comes on mostly every couple arguing, and you're going to use that argument you both had to try and cancel him, saying, look how he treated me so many years ago. Even though there's literally no evidence to prove that, you do get people, which again, like I said, who do go around, and this happens. Literally, it's like Why are you saying that I treated you badly all those years ago? If I treated you so badly, then why didn't you say anything back then? You had to wait 8+ years or whatever, or 4 years, 3 years, whatever, you know? And then when that person comes out with actual evidence saying, what you're saying is wrong, this happened because I have this evidence here, where you even admitted that nothing happened, why have you got to go online and say otherwise? But then that person, they ignore all the evidence that is put to them on Twitter that people are actually replying to, which is actually one of the videos I got again because, like, for some unknown reason, this whole 2020, the Me Too movement in 2020 has gone down the toilet. There's so many false accusations out there now. The people who do the false ones, you're the reason that real victims don't come forward anymore. Because they're scared to see what happens to them. Because you get people who fake all of this, which is what we've seen, which is what we talked about here. Those real victims, they're like, oh my god, what if someone starts hounding me? But again, no, I just want to put this forward to every single person. It's innocent until proven guilty. That is it. Be neutral, unless there's evidence, like this one here. And if people can actually, look into things and prove what you've said is wrong, then you haven't got a leg to stand on. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates. And I'll see all you wonderful people soon.